G'day. Today we're going to be changing the timing belt on this EJ 205 powered MY99 WRX. They need doing every 100,000 Ks. It's a preventative maintenance part to stop you destroying your engine. Very important, but also very simple to do. So let's get into it. Alright, so the very first thing we're going to do this job is disconnect the battery. Because when we've got our timing belt off, we absolutely cannot turn the engine for fear of damaging valves and pistons. So let's prevent that from even happening by just undoing the negative turner on the battery. That's now that out of the way. Next step, let's remove these belt covers. Now we're going to loosen off the belts and take them off. Alright, so next we're going to take the cooling fans off. We're going to do this job without taking the radiator out, so we're not going to have to drain the coolant or re-bleed it or anything. Taking the cooling fans off the back of the radiator will give us enough room to work into the job. Alright, now it's time to undo the front crank pulley or harmonic balancer and then undo all the timing cases. Alright, so I got my special crankshaft lock tool. This fits in the 4 holes in the front of the pulley. This little tang here locks it over one of the grooves so it can't come off. Alright, because we need this to undo the bolt. So what we do is put it around about here. Fit it on like that. And you just slip a bar through it, so it's sitting down against the floor. Like that. Now we just get our 22mm socket and our breaker bar and undo the front crank pulley. Like that. Take that tool back off. Now we can undo the cases. Alright, there we are. Got all the covers off now so we can see the belt. Let's see what we're working with. Alright, so next we're going to turn the motor around until all the timing marks line up. So you'll see them here on the cam wheels. Okay, and it's got a double notch on the top of this cam wheel, which lines up with a double notch on the bottom of this cam wheel. A single notch on the top cam wheel lines up with a notch in the case. There's also a notch on the front crank pulley that lines up to a notch on the engine case. So it's real simple to time. So the way we do that is we put our bolt back in our crankshaft. Just like that. And we put our socket back on and we just turn it by hand with a ratchet. Now it's easier to turn it clockwise, right? To the bolt screws up and turns the crank like this. So just keep turning it round. Here comes our timing marks, right? See here? They're going to be lined up soon. Slowly turn it around, and there. Alright. So we've got our marks lined up here, 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 and if we have a look at our other crank wheels, it'll be the same. See it down there? The mark there, and the mark there. Okay. See there? Alright. Next we need to clamp the two left-hand cam wheels. They're the ones with pressure on them. So the easiest way to do that is just with a little pair of vice grips. Just sit them on here in the middle. And obviously don't put any ridiculous tension on them. Like that. Now what we do is release the tension off the hydraulic tensioner. So for that we need a grenade pin. Let's just get this in view for you. Okay, there it is there. So we need to compress this and then put the grenade pin back through the hole. So we have our pin ready. We can start it in the hole like that. Now we need to compress it. So we put a lever in here against the edge of it. And pull up. Until we can get the pin through enough that the belt comes slack. Now we very carefully slide the belt out. Once you get it off one pulley, like that, pop it off that one at the bottom there. That'll let it come off the others, like so. Very carefully, like that. And there it is. Okay, so the belt's out. So now it's time for the new belt. So I'm using a high quality Dayco belt. This one is Dayco's top of the range version for the EJ 205. So it's internally lined with PTFE, or polytetrafluoroethylene, or in layman terms Teflon. And that's to aid in keeping the belt quiet, because there's such a big belt on these Subis. They tend to have a bit of a whirring sound, especially the OE belts. So Dayco have come out with this one. So it's a high temp HNBR belt with PTFE coating. Alright, so they come with these timing marks. So they're to make sure they go on the right teeth. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to put it on now. So we have one mark in the middle is for the crank, and then the two marks on each side are for cams. Alright, so now I'm going to slip it in. So down past that cam clamp. Now what I'm going to do is put it on these cam wheels first. So just make sure nothing's moved. It shouldn't have, unless you've bumped it or turned it. Use mirrors and stuff if you have to get it all lined up. Now I've just got this little clamp that's been made, and it just is designed to just hold the belt on the crank pulley like that. It's made so it doesn't damage the belt. It's just so that it holds it in the right place while we set all the other pulleys. Now you're not allowed to actually crimp the belt, but we're not doing that. We're just putting a nice smooth bit of pressure down on it. So that's got that on now. And what we do is just check all the marks on the belt, make sure they're lined up and the pulleys are lined up. Before we put tension on it. So that'll let our hydraulic tensioner expand now as it gets room, and that'll put tension on our belt. So now we need to check all the marks. So we may need a mirror. I use this little King Chrome LED mirror. So we check the mark on the crank wheel. Make sure that the stripe on the belt matches the notch on the crank wheel, and then it matches the notch on the case. Now we go around one by one on the cam wheels. So we've got the stripe on the belt matching the notch on the wheel, lined up with the notch in the inner timing case. You can see there. And then the next wheel, this is where a mirror comes into play. You can see it there, the mark on the wheel, the line on the belt. You can also see that this belt needs to be pushed on a little bit more at the bottom there. So we're going to do that. Now we come along, make sure it's around the right side of all the pulleys and tensioners, over the water pump. Now we check these side wheels. The line on the belt's matching the notch on the wheel. And then the last one, the top left hand side one, the line on the belt, the notch in the wheel and the notch in the case. And then you also see the middle marks on the cam wheels are pretty much lined up as well. Right. They'll actually line up better once the tension's on the belt. Okay, so what we do now is we release our little clamp on these left-hand cam wheels, let them go. And now we just wind the engine round a couple of times by hand and recheck the belt after that. Now we're only going to wind it 2 turns, which is 1 turn on the cam. Just to check the marks. Now there'll be no marks on the belt now in the right spot. Because the belt's so long, it takes a lot of turns for them to line up again. So now we purely just check all the timing marks on the engine. Okay, so we've got it there, the mark on the engine lined up with the crankcase there. See it there? Okay, so it's in the right spot. Now all our cam wheels should be lined up in the right spot. Okay, so this one, it's hard for you to see, but I can see it. There's the mark on the wheel. It's got to match the mark in the case. the inner timing case, which you can just see down through there. And the two cam wheels have to be lined up in the middle. You'll notice they're a little bit offset. If they were one tooth out, believe me, they'd be a whole heap way out. But they're lined up within one of those notches, see? If it was one tooth out, it'd be way around here. So that's lined up correctly. We go around, we check how our belt's sitting, and we check these cam wheels. Okay, they're also lined up correctly. Right, and we check it on top, and it's also lined up correctly. Okay, so there we are. The engine's timed now, the belt's on, and it's got its tension. And now we can put the cases back on the front. So all the front cases are back on now. Cool. So let's put that front crank pulley back on. So we just need to take the bolt out of the front. Just have to knock it loose. So when we roll the motor around, it just tightened up a little bit. Alright, so just unscrew it. Like that. Make sure the keyway's stay in the crank, which it should be because we didn't take the pulley off. Just put the crank pulley on here. Where the keyway is. Now we get our pulley lock tool again and put it on. Now this time it's got to go the other way. And just lock it on the pulley like so. Roll it out. Put our lock bar down against the floor. Like that. Now most people recommend thread locker on these front crank bolts. I've never had one come loose, as long as you tighten them up properly. Don't use a rattle gun, it won't be tight enough. So what I usually do is just put a little bit of leftover RTV on here. This one's black elastic. That just, it's not a thread locker. You'll be able to get it off in the future. But just to stop any thread movement or rattling loose, it's just a little precaution. So I usually just put a bit of that into the thread before I do it up. And then we put that bolt in there. Set it on there for a start. Now we'll get our breaker bar. This has to be really tight. And that's enough. Now we take our lock tool out. It's the crank pulley on and turned up. Alright, let's refit the fans now. That's the fans back in. Alright, we're almost done. Now for the accessory belts. Alright, so she's all fully reassembled now. All the belts are on, the fans are on, they're reconnected, covers are on, the trims are on. Now let's kick it over. Cool guys, all done. Until next time on Nev's Garage, keep sharing, subscribing and liking. See you next time.